What are the best exercises to do if you're a woman that's trying to grow your glutes? Hello and welcome. If you're new to my channel, my name is Chris and I'm an online fitness coach for women. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the best exercises to grow your glutes. Now, as an online fitness coach for women, I think this is probably a long overdue video that I should have made, even though I just kind of started re-ramping this channel. And for someone who coaches women on weight loss, typically what I get a lot of times is, Chris, how do I grow my glutes? So when it comes to growing a peach or growing your butt or growing your glutes, here are a few things you want to take into consideration, right? And if you're a woman right now that's watching this, you want to take some notes, get a notepad out and a pen and write these things down. So when it comes to growing your glutes, it's always going to be from a nutrition aspect and from a fitness aspect. If you've been watching me for some time, you know that I'm very, very big on nutrition, right? Because your body will not change unless you dial in your nutrition. But from an exercise standpoint, let's start with that first. So when it comes to growing your glutes, here's some exercises that you want to start doing. So first, before we get into the exercises, you want to be making sure you're working out 3 to 5 times during the week. 3 to 5 times during the week. You can grow your glutes at home, but at some point you want to start going to the gym because there's more equipment there that you can mess around with. Unless you have a gym in your building or something, or you have a garage, you can buy some equipment and keep it there. You can do that too. But when it comes to the exercises, one of the main exercises you want to do as a woman, if you want to grow your glutes, is squats, right? You want to do squats, 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 and even more squats, because the squats is going to target your gluteus maximus, right? That's the part of your booty that you want to build. That's the part of your butt that you want to build. You want to target your glutes. Excuse me. And when it comes to that, you want to make sure you're doing lots of sets, reps, and heavy weight. So if you're a woman that's trying to do that, you're trying to grow your glutes and you're going to perform squats, first you want to make sure you're doing that with good form, right? You want to make sure you're doing that with good form. And if you're someone that's not used to doing barbell back squats, you want to get some practice in. Start watching some videos. If you can have someone show you in person, that's probably better, just so you don't get injured. But if you already know how to do them, then great. What you want to do is start doing squats. And when it comes to the reps, you want to do about 10 to 15 squats, like 10 to 15 reps. And then when it comes to sets, you want to do about 4 to 6 sets. And when it comes to the weight, you want to lift heavy weights. Heavy, but controlled. Here's why. You're trying to grow your glutes. The glutes is just another muscle. It's like me, a guy trying to grow his biceps. Me also too with my glutes. I want my whole body to be in pretty good shape. So for me, that's something that I also do too. I squat, for some guys, they may think they don't have to do squats and stuff like that, or they don't have to worry about that part of their body, but you should worry about every part of your body. You want to be the full package. So when it comes to doing squats, you want to make sure you are squatting at least 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week. You want to do squats, right? You want to target your glutes 2 to 3 times a week because you want more volume. So going back to it, 10 to 15 reps, 4 to 6 sets, and you want to do squats, you want to do hip thrusters, you want to do jump squats, you want to do leg extensions, leg curls, you want to do leg press, right? You could do the Bulgarian split squats. You want to target your glutes, and you want to target your quads and your hamstrings. And you want to target your you want to target your calves as well too. So for the women out there that want to target their calves and you want like the full shape of your legs, you want to do some calf raises, seated calf raises, and standing calf raises, because when you do standing, and this is for the men too, because sometimes men, we struggle with our calves, right? If you want to hit your gastrocnemius part of your calves, do standing. If you want to hit your soleus part of your calves, do seated. And if anyone that understands human anatomy, when we have our calves, they comprise of 2 parts, your gastrocnemius and your soleus. So when it comes to building your calves, you want to make sure you focus on those 2. Gastrocnemius is when you're doing standing calf raises, and your soleus is what you target when you do seated. That's why at the gym, if you may see 2 different calf machines, standing and seated, it's because they target different parts of the muscle. Now, going back to growing your glutes, what you want to end up doing is making sure that you're lifting heavy weights. Here's why. Some people think that when it comes to building muscle, you need to lift light weights but more reps. No, when it comes to building muscle, what you want to do is heavy weight, heavy but controlled. I'm not saying go lift something heavy and then go get yourself hurt. You know it's too heavy when your form starts to break. So if you can't do an exercise with good form, that means it's too heavy for you, whether it's squats or anything else. So don't go get yourself hurt and say, hey, Chris, I got myself hurt. If your form is breaking, it's too heavy for you, right? So make sure it's heavy but controlled. Heavy but controlled means that your form is still good, but you can move the weight with proper technique. So when you're doing that, you want to make sure you're lifting heavy because you want to force muscle growth within your muscles. Your glutes is muscle. So you want to make sure that you're doing heavy squats, and you should get around 10 to 15 reps out. It could even be less, and this could be debatable. If you can even get out 8, that's still good because 8 is still pretty heavy. If it's gonna be heavy, you probably won't get to 15, but I would say as a warm up, you can do that. But if you don't get to like 10 to 15, if you get around like 8, that's still okay, as long as it's heavy. And you still want to keep the sets 4 to 6 sets. But if you don't get out 10 to 15, that's okay. I think 8 is still pretty good now that I think about it, because if it's heavy, it's gonna be something that's gonna have to work your way up to. But if someone is still kind of like high beginner, intermediate, you can do about 10 to 15, because what's gonna do is it's gonna help you get more blood flow into your glutes to where you can build it. And then as you get better, you'll be able to add more weight. Because in the beginning, you probably can't handle too much weight. I'm just now starting off. So you want to do the squats, right? And you want to do squats with the Smith machine. If you're somebody new, if you're more like intermediate advanced, then you probably can already do back squats with just a rack, with just a barbell on your back. But if you're someone that's new, safety first. So you want to make sure you're doing with the Smith machine with this kind of some support there, right? And even if you're just going to use a squat rack, make sure you have the bars on the side to where if you have to just drop the weight, you have those bars on your left and right hand side to where the weight could just drop, where you can drop the bar and those bars will catch it, those safe bars on the side. You have them for the squat rack, and then for the Smith machine, you have the hooks that can just hook on. So if you can't lift the weight and you can't continue with the you can't continue with the set, you could just drop it and you won't get hurt. So now we covered that you're going to be doing squats, right? You have to be doing squats. You want to do squats at least 2 to 3 times a week, right? You want to do squats, more volume. So I gave you the sets, the reps, and more volume and more frequency. Volume as in the weight, and more frequency as in how many times you're doing it throughout the week. Next, you want to do hip thrusters. Hip thrusters are going to be your best friend. Some gyms have machines where you could just go do the hip thrusters. Then sometimes you have to get the barbell, put some plates on it, and do the thrusters. Those are the exercises you don't want to make eye contact with anyone, right? But you want to get like a pad on the bar, because if you just put the bar on, you're going to feel some type of pain because of where it's being placed. And you just want to thrust. And when you're thrusting, same thing. You're going to get 10 to 15 reps out. But if it's heavy, you may get around 8. So that's okay. Squats and hip thrusters. You want to do that. Next, you want to do the hip abduction and adductions, right? So it's the ones when you bring your legs out, and then it's the ones when you bring your legs in. But the ones when you bring your legs out and you push outwards, right? When you bring your legs away from the center of gravity, from away of each other, those are the ones you want to do as well, because when you're doing those, it's going to build your glutes. So squats, hip thrusters, and the hip adductions, when you're separating your legs, right? You aren't squeezing inward, you're squeezing outwards. But you could still do those as well, where you're squeezing inwards if you're someone who wants to work on the inner portion of your legs. But for you that's watching this video right now, you want to work on the hip adduction where you're separating your legs. You do all those exercises, right? Leg extension as well, working your quads because that's a big part of your legs as well. Working your hamstrings, do the leg curls. The lionel-seated leg curls both still work. Do leg extension for your quads. Do the leg press for your quads. You will build your legs, but you have to make sure that you're doing this consistently. If you're just gonna kind of play with this, it's not gonna work. And I wanna make sure I put a lot of emphasis on that, because if you don't do the work, you're not gonna see any changes. And you're gonna think to yourself, this doesn't work. And you're gonna blame it on the process when you should be blaming it on the amount of effort you're putting into this. Because a lot of times people don't do it right and they think, oh, this doesn't work. No, it works. There's people in this world who's in great shape. How do you think they got there? They lift heavy weights, and they track their food. They know how much calories, carbs, and protein and fat that they're having. Typically, most when it comes to the calories and protein, those are the main two important factors. So you want to make sure you're tracking everything and you're being consistent. If you're falling off, this is not going to work. So now that we covered the whole exercise portion and I gave you all the exercises to do, right? You're going to do squats, hip thrusters. You're going to do the hip adductions where you're separating your legs outwards. You're going to do leg extensions, leg press, and leg curls. And if you want, you could do seated and standing calf raises. Now, when it comes to nutrition, if you're someone that has body fat, it's probably better that you reduce your body fat first before you start trying to build your glutes, because you got to understand you're trying to build more muscle. You may not think of it like this, but your glutes is a muscle, as I mentioned, and you're trying to build more muscle within your glutes. So it's not something that you just do by having less food. Probably gonna have to have more food. You can now shape and tone up, or I don't like saying the word tone. I know tone is a very, very popular word, but the real term is build muscle. You can still kind of build muscle within your glutes. If you don't have much of a shape, you can still build a shape, but it won't grow as much. It'll just have more of a shape. If you're a newbie, then yes, you can do that if you're a newbie. But if you're someone who's not a newbie, it probably won't grow so much. You'll see a difference, but it may not grow to the drastic extent that you may want it to. So whether you're trying to lose the body fat or if you are now trying to build up, still do those leg exercises for your glutes. Still do those glutes exercises. Still do them. Don't think that you shouldn't because you're probably in a deficit or you're in a surplus. But if there's body fat there, because I like to think that you as a woman that's watching this right now, you want to build your glutes, but you want a flat stomach, right? You don't want a big stomach. You want to grow your glutes, but then decrease your stomach, because a lot of us have stomach fat, and it's not going to look too good if you have nice pair of glutes, but your stomach is growing, right? For anyone, man or woman, I don't think it just looks good. So if you have to cut down the calories to put yourself in a deficit so you can lose the body fat. Now, I know for some women, they go, Chris, I don't want to lose my glutes. Listen, if it's body fat, it's going to go. And if it's muscle, it's going to stay. So we're going to lose body fat in a deficit. But if it's muscle, it's going to stay. So if it's really, really yours, it's going to be there. I had a bodybuilding coach told me once, if you can flex, then it's yours, right? So as I'm flexing my bicep now, if you can flex, then it's yours. If you can't flex, it's not yours, right? So you have to understand, maybe that's not muscle, maybe that's body fat. So if it's muscle, you're going to be perfectly fine. Now, if you just like the way your glutes already look, then you're fine. But understand that when you're trying to lose weight, and let's say you are trying to even build your glutes even bigger, even more, if it's body fat, it's going to go. So I'm just saying that right now before you start to change up where you're going. But if you see that it's kind of decreasing and you don't like how it looks, then stop reducing your calories. Stay where you are. So after you now decided where you're going to take your calories whether it's going to be decreasing them or increasing them, now you want to just focus on hitting your calorie goals, right? Depending on if you're in a deficit or a surplus, or maybe you're at a maintenance, right? Maybe you're at a maintenance. But that comes down to how much body fat you have and if you want to reduce it. Because as you grow your glutes, if there's body fat there, you may not like the shape of it. So you may have to reduce the body fat to see the real shape of it. It's like if a guy comes to me saying, Chris, I'm going to grow a nice chest and some biceps, I'm going to tell him, we got to reduce the body fat. If there's body fat on his chest and his arms, we have to reduce that first. For anyone, right, man or woman, if there's body fat around that muscle, we have to reduce that body fat. Because if that body fat is there, you're not going to be able to see the muscle. Like I always say in my videos, we want to reduce this, because when we don't reduce this, we can't see this. And what happens is this is hair, but then this covers it. So it's really, really hard to see the muscle right now because of the body fat that I'm covering it, right? So when we don't have that right ratio of reducing the body fat and having more muscle, we can't see this. So you want to make sure that you're reducing your body fat first. So you want to make sure you figure out that part first. With all that being said, you might be saying to yourself, Chris, how long is this going to take? This is going to take some time. Building muscle takes some time, right? You see me right now in this video. This took me about probably 6-7 years to get like this. I probably say within the first 4 years more so, but I had to keep on eating. I had to keep on learning about calories, In the beginning, you get those beginner gains, you know, because you first start working out for the first time. So your body will drastically change if you work out very intensely and consistently. But then that's it. Now you gotta really, really do the hard work. In the beginning, you can get away with not doing much, right? Because those are the beginner gains. But now, after some point, now you gotta really, really dial into the calories, the protein. You have to do things right. You can't just wing it and think, okay, I'm just gonna work out. In the beginning, you can do that. That's what I did. I just worked out all the time. I didn't want to be home. I was a college student. Said I'm gonna go to the gym all the time. I was working at the YMCA, so I had a free gym membership. So I just went all the time. And I saw a picture of a bodybuilder. I think it was Jay Cutler, and I said, this guy looks amazing. I'm gonna like this. Now Jay Cutler is way, way bigger than me, but from what I saw, I was just inspired, and I just wanted to look like that. And I had this obsession with Hercules when I was younger, right? So I just wanted to build muscle, right? But if you're gonna take this seriously, you have to dial in the nutrition and the training. They go hand in hand. And I see a lot of people try to not do the nutrition part because it's hard, but it's like, if this is important to you, you're gonna have to do the hard. When you're trying to accomplish anything in life, it's gonna typically be hard in the beginning because it's new. And when you're trying to run from it, you may not get the results that you're looking for. And then you're gonna get discouraged thinking this doesn't work. No, this does work. You just have to keep on going. Like for you guys that know this, obviously I'm an online fitness coaching. I'm an online fitness coach. In the beginning, it was a little hard and then it got better. And even before that, I was a personal trainer. It was hard and then it got better because I kept doing what I need to do to attract people, to get the clients. And then it gets better. People trust you, they believe in you, they know that you can help them. So things start to work a lot better. And you gotta be honest with people too. That's why in these videos, I'm very honest with you all to tell you how to get in good shape. Because I'm giving you the blueprint of what I did to myself and what I did with my clients, because I know this stuff works. And it's always two things, fitness and nutrition. And to end you off with this video, the reason why I go into fitness and nutrition is because you're gonna hear someone tell you, take this supplement, take that supplement. No, if you're trying to grow your glutes, if you're trying to get bigger biceps, whatever the case is, bigger calves, it's not gonna be a supplement that changes your physique. It's gonna be you going to the gym and dialing in your nutrition. Maybe in the beginning, you just wanna go to the gym. Fine, go to the gym, work out, get consistent with doing that 3 to 5 times a week. Everything you see me saying in these videos, I'm gonna keep repeating it. 3 to 5 times a week, at least 30 minutes, right? And you can do it at home too, but be consistent. Then later on, if you wanna do this later on, then dial into nutrition. Not even if, you have to, but get consistent with the gym first, start going, and then start dialing in the nutrition, because now your body will start to change even more. And then once you get to the body you have, all you have to do is just keep doing what you've been doing. Every day is the same things. I eat the same foods. If I want to gain weight, which I am, I just have more of the same foods. If I want to lose weight, I'll have the same foods. I just have less of the same foods. It's either I'm putting myself into a surplus or a deficit. Or if I've been in a deficit, or if I've been in a deficit for too long, I'll bring myself back into a maintenance, as I tell you all to do the same thing. If I'm in a surplus, I'm gonna keep going for the surplus until I feel like, okay, I'm good. And by then, my body would have adapted. So there's the same thing for you all. But for the ladies that's watching this, right, and for the few men that maybe are watching this, when it comes to building your glutes, that's what you wanna do. The squats, the hip thrusters, the hip adductions, when you separate your legs outwards, you wanna do leg extensions, leg curls, like press, standing and seated calf raises. You wanna do all those. And you can do walking lunges as well too. It's gonna put more emphasis on your quads. You can do that too, but you will definitely wanna make sure you dial in your nutrition. And because of the fact that you're trying to build muscle, you're gonna have high quality protein foods. So that's eggs, chicken, steak, salmon. You can have shrimp as well too. Greek yogurt. You don't need to do a protein shake, right? I'm really not so into supplements, but if you can get everything from your diet and then there's a little bit of extra that you need, like a little push that you need, then fine. You can take a protein shake. But I want you, supplements can be helpful. I just don't like someone taking supplements over eating real quality food. You need to get better with food first and then have a supplement, because supplements are supposed to supply your diet. So you get the diet on point first, and then you supply it with a supplement. Don't think you're gonna eat a little bit of food and then have supplements all day. That's not how this works. Maybe throw in a protein shake, maybe throw in a protein bar, but have real quality food and make sure you're being consistent with that. So there you have it, ladies. That is pretty much the blueprint when it comes to building your glutes. Now, this goes in more depth of you being consistent and you figuring out, the sets and reps are pretty much gonna work for you. When it comes to good form, that's very, very important as well too. And when you're doing these exercises, you want to ask yourself, do I feel the burn? If you feel the burn, then you're in a pretty good place. If you don't feel the burn, then there's no blood flow going. So if I'm doing a bicep curl, right, I want to make sure that I feel some type of burn, and it's a stretch and it's a contraction. This goes for every muscle in the body. There's always a stretch and then there's always a contraction. And if you don't feel that stretch and contraction, there's something wrong. You're not doing it right. You want to have this muscle to mind connection where you're focusing on the muscle actually being worked. Because if it's not being worked, then there's something you're doing wrong, right? You want to target the muscle and you want it to grow. Because once you target it, it's going to grow. So make sure you're doing that. So that is a blueprint. I could get more in depth into this, but this video is going to go way too long. As I always mention, if you're a woman that's trying to get in good shape, you're trying to build your glutes, you're trying to just be a better version of yourself, I'm going to put a link to my coaching. If you want to, click, fill it out, and give me some information on you, and I will reach out to you personally.